Hi, everyone. Okay, I need to rant. Um, Look, I don't know if I can do another one of these, sexual harassment things. Now it's Governor Cuomo. And I just had this long fight with this guy that I like, actually. I mean, not a fight, but a kind of heated Facebook conversation, right? Where he's like defending Cuomo and how dare they now that the far right is trying to get him taken to resign and all of this crap. All right. So I've got a lot of things to say and I need for you to hear them. First of all, you have no idea how damaging these conversations are for people who have been sexually abused, raped, molested, touched against their will. This brings up PTSD for all of us, all right? And every time one of these things happen and we have to defend, it is so damaging for us. All right, I know that Governor Cuomo is dealing with some damage right now himself, but this brings me to the next point. When you get caught on, he should resign, he shouldn't resign, how dare he, what, he's not doing anything, what women, can't even go near him now, blah, blah, blah. We're losing the ability to have a conversation about this, about the real deal, not about all of that crap. The moment the politics get involved, and then you know that there's a lot of Republicans out there that want him out. They want everybody out that's not Republican, and I get that, And is this so far? Whatever's coming up, it doesn't seem like it's something that he should resign over. However, he should learn from it. All of you should learn from it. Men, not all men, I realize, but men, most men, please stop and listen to what we're saying. So one of the things that's going around online right now is two photos. One is of Governor Cuomo with a young woman. It looks like at a bar or something, some kind of, maybe it's a fundraiser, I'm not sure. And he's cupping her face in his hands. All right. And then the picture that they're trying to show with it is a photo from the early 60s of Sammy Davis Jr. and Sir Richard Burton in kind of a similar position. First of all, the false equivalency of this is beyond the pale. I mean, we're talking about something that happened 60 years ago, which we do have different mores and we do have different norms of behavior now than we did 60 years ago. Please, goddess. Most of us, we are moving forward. And so how they find that as an equivalency is beyond me. But you know what? If all right, I'll play that game. If you want to play that game of this equivalency, then, this is the people that are like, how can you say that, that he's doing anything wrong? Or maybe this couple of, Sammy Davis Jr., Richard Burton, or if that's okay, how is this okay? Maybe you're going to call Sammy Davis Jr. gay. And P.S., would that be a horrible thing? He's not from everything I read, but would that be the worst thing that ever happened to Sammy Davis, to be called gay? However, all right, so here are the two photos, all right? So I'm going to show them to you. I'm doing two-handed now. So here is Sammy Davis Jr. with Sir Richard Burton. Obviously, it looks like they're backstage somewhere, like after a performance, and obviously Sammy Davis Jr. was moved by Sir Richard Burton. And I'm just making that up. I'm not sure what the context of this is, but I will show this back to you in a second, because I want to show you the other photo of the governor of New York. Here's Cuomo with the young woman. This is I think she might be one of the ones that has brought charges against him for inappropriate behavior. Not necessarily, So okay, here we are now. Cuomo he's got his hands cupped around her. All right, so you get the gist. So again, they're 60 years apart. They're 60 years apart. However, if you go back to the picture of Sammy Davis Jr. and Richard Burton, there's several things to notice about body language. First of all, Richard Burton is not leaning back. He's standing upright. So he's not trying to get away from Sammy Davis Jr. He doesn't look like he's that particularly happy about Sammy Davis having half of his jowls or his cheek grabbing onto it like a 3-year-old. However, here's an important thing. Richard Burton has his arm around Sammy Davis Jr. It's a dual embrace. They are both willing partners in this moment in time, whatever it was, way back in the early 60s, that for judging from the hairdos of the women and the way the men are dressed. All right? You following me so far? We're talking body language. Men, you know what? Here's a conversation we should be having. Things like body language. Learn how to read it. Learn how to read body language, because I'm going to tell you something. All you have to do is look for 2 seconds at this photo, and there's a lot of body language going there. First of all, the young woman is leaning back from the governor. That right there is massive body language saying, please, you're too close. Secondly, her expression, let me try and get a close-up. I know, there you go. Her expression, that is not somebody that's happy. That's like, what the fuck are you doing? Please stop doing that. At least that's how I interpret it. You may interpret it differently, but to me, that seems pretty clear. She is not especially comfortable in this moment. The third thing to look at that's very important is her hands and her arms. They're in front of her body trying to protect herself. That's a huge thing. That's a huge giveaway right now about her comfort level in this moment. She's not comfortable. She's trying to protect her midsection. She's trying to keep him from like getting closer to her breast. And, it's like, it's very obvious that she's not dually embracing in this. This is all him. All right. Is that worthy of having to leave a governorship for? Absolutely not. But that's the point. We're missing the conversation because we're talking about that shit. The conversation is, men, learn how to read body language. Men, just don't do shit like this. It's inappropriate. I had one guy online say to me, well, she should have just said, get your fucking hands off of me. He's the governor of the state of New York. She is not going to say, get your fucking hands off of me in a public setting to the governor of New York. Not if she wants a career. Women get this. We understand how it works, and you don't say shit like that to people in power, because your career has gone really fast. These are the conversations that we should be having. If our governor of New York, as much as we've loved him during the pandemic and all that, if the governor of New York is too handsy with the women around him, he needs to stop. That's the conversation. Say you're sorry. Say I'm learning. Take a class. But he needs to stop. And that's the conversation we should be having. Right? Because if it's all about stay in office, don't stay in office, blah, blah, then we lose the conversation, which is that women have had to deal with this for for thousands of years, and that we're still having to fucking have this conversation after all of the last 4 years. It's ridiculous. And I personally can't keep having this conversation and trying to explain this to people in a way, I don't know what it will take for men to hear. If it's not your wife or your girlfriend or somebody you're dating that is compliant, or family members, then just leave the hugging out of it, right? If you're not in theater and you have this, even in theater, I had guys backstage humping me. I did not like that. I'm in theater, in case anybody's watching this that doesn't know me. Even in theater, ask first, can I hump your leg? And I can guarantee you they'll say, yeah, no, I'm not real comfortable with that because, ew, you're not a dog and I'm not a bitch, so just give it a rest already. Find some other way to have fun. How hard is that? How about a conversation? That would be good. How about talking to us? Instead of trying to maul us all the time. And then trying to make it that we're wrong and too sensitive. Stop it. Just stop it. And no, he should not have to leave the governorship for this. That's ridiculous. Unless he did rape somebody or something like that, then let's have another conversation about it, But we're learning. And there needs to be room for men to learn this lesson. Men, if you're talking about the political aspect of this, you are not learning your lesson. Now, I'm willing, and I know a lot of women are willing to give you some leeway in this and while you learn these lessons. But not if it just becomes all about, how dare they? They're too sensitive, blah, blah, blah. Then you're not learning the lesson. You're not hearing us. As usual, you are not hearing us. So listen up. Just stop. Now I have to, because of all this bullshit, now I got to go off Facebook for a couple of days because my PTSD is through the roof and I'm just an anxious old mess. And I got to tell you, it's not like life isn't anxious enough already. We got to deal with this. Y'all figure it out. Learn your lesson.